Hey, beautiful people. I'm so excited to see you today because this is a video that I actually made when I jumped off my full time job. I made a video about the things that I wish I'd have known as like an entrepreneur, what I've learned. And I wanted to just do a different iteration of this video because I have been working in my business for a year and 8 months. No, a year and no, well, almost 2 years. A year and some change. It'll be about September. So I've had my business for over 12 years. This is my second business. I decided to leave my full-time job in 2023. And so at the end of 2023, I had some, thoughts about business and all of that. And so because I get so many clients that desire to step out and be speakers, coaches, consultants, and not all of my clients, but some of them do desire to do this full time at some point or as a side business. And I'm actually one of those coaches that is really big on strategy and doing things that are super aligned to your life. So I don't subscribe as being that coach that says, you got to do it this way and this is the way you got to do it. I love that some people they feel called to do that. They feel really pulled to go that direction in their business coaching. That's just not who I am as a coach. I love to be very bespoke to someone else's desires and how they desire to do business and do business in a way that feels good. Now we align in that way, then they might want to do business the way I did it. But if not, I want people to feel good about how they do business. So I want to give you a few tips if you're thinking about coaching, speaking, consulting, and I just want to give you my journey and some of the things that I've learned along my journey and not for you to duplicate it. You can duplicate it if you like, but it's really for you to just see the possibilities, see all of the options, and do what actually feels aligned with you. And so when I started this business in 2012, I had no idea how I was going to necessarily bring in income. I just had this very deep desire. At the time, I was very focused on serving organizations. A lot of my experience in business and organizations has been with youth servant organizations, nonprofit organizations, being a manager or coordinator and advisor in colleges and local nonprofits in my hometown. And so I had a deep desire when I was doing consulting work is really helping teams, helping managers with frontline workers that work in youth service organizations, ministries, all of that, because I did a lot of youth work as well at my church. And so I had a really deep desire to help people that are doing a lot of the work that is helping our young people or college age people. And so that kind of morphed over time as I was growing my dance company and really desiring to build leaders in the women that I was working with. And volunteering my time with all the time, I really started doing a lot more work with adults. And so over time, my mission changed and all of that. And before you know it, I was at the point where I was going to start this business and I wanted to do it in a way that felt good to me. So I did things with women and I did things with youth servant organizations. And then over time, it just kind of morphed into women. Now, when I first started, I had no idea how I wanted to, make money, but I was going to do it in the way that I already knew how because I had a dance company and we did a lot of work around contracting with schools and organizations. It was a lot of exchanging my time for money in terms of consulting when I started this business. And so I would look for organizations that, wanted their leadership team to be developed and all of that. I had my own curriculum, or I would use some of the things that they wanted me to use to teach their staff how to be more resilient, how to communicate better, team building activities, things like that. So I did that for a while and I had no idea how to really price myself either. So I would just take what was ever a part of their budget or kind of make up something out of the top of my head or what have you. Then there was a time where I just went straight dormant, you all. Like I wasn't doing anything because I kind of stepped away from it, focused on my nonprofit business. There was a time where I was the executive director of the nonprofit. And so I was doing that full time and also holding down a full time job. I was doing a lot. And so I just let that be on the back burner because I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And online creation was there, but it was still to me too much. So I didn't even know where to step into that. So it was just more in my comfort zone to focus on the business I already had. And so when I transitioned into corporate, I started working for an international leadership organization that I did coaching, training, speaking for a number of years, about six, well, 5.5 years, and then I still actually contract with them to this day. And that is actually a part of my journey and my thoughts for people that are looking to coach, speak, train, consult, all the things, is that it's really helpful when you actually do work with an organization that is similar to what you want to do. Now, I would not recommend, this is not legal advice or any of the things, I would not recommend doing it at the same time that you're working with that organization based on whatever you sign in the contract. Because some organizations, because of some of their policies, they don't want you doing the same kind of work that you're going to be doing with them. And so you just need to talk to your boss, see what the contract says, make sure that there is no competing situations happening before you say, like, oh, I'm going to work with them and then I'm going to do my own thing, because people are sensitive about their intellectual property and what they're doing, as they should be, and they want to just cover themselves. And so you just want to make sure that you're keeping the lines clear. So if you are going to do it while you're working with them, then you should say something, or don't work with them if you feel more led to do your thing, and not wanting to delay it any longer because of a job or organization. With that being said, me working in that organization, they knew that I had a business and what I was doing and all of that, because I started doing more stuff in my consulting business a little bit right before I left, more from a speaking perspective, less, training, and less like coaching, so to speak. And so when I did start working there, I read the policy and made sure that whatever I did was aligned with making sure that I did not do anything that would put me in a predicament at my day job, because I really enjoyed what I did and I didn't want to sacrifice that. And so I stayed within those confines, and as a result, I did group coaching with some women in communities, in group communities, and I was doing it because I learned on the internet from my very first course that I paid for. So I had a business coach that I worked with before I started launching my business in 2012. I actually worked with this person a little bit after I started it, a couple years after, and they helped me kind of get on the speaking thing, because I really desire speaking. I love speaking. That's been what I've been doing, facilitating speaking, all of that. So they really got me rolling on being in speaker circuits and really considering how I can be seen as a speaker. Well, when I started doing this full-time gig, I'm like, okay, if I'm not out here speaking, maybe I can do some coaching. So I took my first course, my first online course on how to create an online course. You know how that goes. And many of you probably have already done one or are in one, all the things. But that course actually was really great for me because I didn't know how to navigate the internet's online coaching space. And so that was really cool for me to just see what it was like to do it. And I got really excited because I was able to help 4 women in a small cohort over like 4 weeks change their lives. That was my first, get your life course. And so I was so excited about it. And this is the thing that happened, you all. I started feeling like what I did was great, but it wasn't as great as what I saw other people doing. And because it wasn't as great as what I saw other people doing, I started to think that what I was doing wasn't good enough. And maybe I needed to niche down more, or maybe I needed to get into paid ads, or maybe I need to hop on Instagram because I was only on Facebook. I just started doing all this questioning of myself. And instead of just continuously moving forward, I ended up going stagnant. And this happened to me a couple of times. This happened to me numerous times, actually. It happened to me after that first cohort. I launched a cohort after that and did it like so quickly in between, really thinking I was pulling on the momentum, but I ended up having people that dropped out of the course. Someone couldn't completely, pay for the course. And so I was like, well, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. So, like, maybe a year later, you all, I did, some other course that was very closely aligned to helping people like launch their, consulting and coaching business, whether it was online or offline. So I was helping people do that. So I did that successfully with another cohort, a small one, about 2 people. And even then, I felt like, oh my goodness, am I doing anything right? Because of course, there should be like tens of thousands of people in my second or third, cohort while I'm also working full time and doing the things because people are out here doing that. But when that didn't happen, I still felt good, but I felt like I wasn't succeeding. And then I was questioning, do I really want to help people start businesses? I started one before, and this is my second one, and probably my third one if you count another one that I did that maybe I'll talk about in another video. But the point is, I was, questioning, is this what I ought to be doing? And again, this questioning, like, this is what pumped the brakes for me. So then I went on to wait some more months, just like kind of fell off, kind of got really engrossed in my job and volunteer work with my dance company. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to pitch another course. And I pitched the course, but honestly, I felt like the course that I had was very similar to, consulting, if you want to start your consulting business or what have you. And I just didn't really feel as connected. And I felt like that came across with even the clients that I work with because it felt like they needed so many different things and it wasn't connected to, what I was actually offering. So I just found that I was doing a lot of bespoke work with them because most of them, even if they said they wanted to start a business, they actually had other desires. And so it just reminded me of the fact that I'm really called to help people get out of their own way with what they desire to have versus feeling like I need to have what everyone else has. And when I say everyone, obviously it's not everyone, but in my eyesight or just timeline, just circles, people had things that were just so niche. Like I help people that are tax professionals get their taxes done in whatever 6 months. I don't know. I'm making up stuff, but you hear what I'm saying? And so because I was doing something that was so life driven, so inspirational, motivational, but I didn't give myself credit for the power that it actually has to move and change people's lives. And the moment that I gave myself permission to do it, that's when things changed for me. So, I always think it's funny when people say, "Oh, this is what changed for me." So, I want to encourage you to know that that change, that spark, is going to be different for everyone. That it might be because you have all these iterations of bad decisions or not even bad decisions but decisions that you're like, okay, I didn't even know this is going to work out this way. But sometimes it'll just come out of just the weirdest moments. Like that was the moment when I'm like, I have to start giving myself permission that what I bring to people is valuable because people move their lives with, for to me, the very little that I do. And I'm always amazed. I'm like, I feel like I did very little. And so one of the learnings that I got, and I want to give this to you, is that sometimes people are going to see what you do as amazing, amazing, because it's not something that comes natural to them. So even if it's easy for you, it wasn't easy for them. So a lot of people, it wasn't easy for them to give themselves permission to do what they were doing in their life and their business. It wasn't intuitive for them to ask what they actually desire and are they just doing something to be busy or is this what they actually want to do. I'm always really serious about getting people really aligned to what you say you want to do and not just be doing stuff. Like intentionality is important. And so I want you to think about what are the things that I truly desire and what things am I not giving myself credit for being dope than a mug about. Because those things could really unlock how you move forward in an entrepreneurial journey if that's the way you desire. And, because some people I worked with, they had these, thoughts about entrepreneurship and we worked through these questions that I'm talking about and they realized I actually don't want that. I just want financial freedom and I want more time to myself, just all the things. And it's like, there's a lot of ways to do that. Let's talk about ways that that can happen and what actually aligns with you. And so we would do assessments, we would have conversations, we would do things to help them really unearth what is the thing that you actually desire because there are so many different hows. You just get to pick the one that you like the most. And so I think one thing that helped me a lot in this journey is really defining success the way I desired success to be because I've been in so many amazing circles with dope people doing their thug thizzle. You hear me? Doing their thug thizzle. And something about me being, if you've done work with me before, then you know I'm a positive intelligence coach. So I talk about self sabotage here and there. And there's something about being that hyper achieving person. And I've been having to overcome that over the last couple of years. And I saw that coming out, early in my entrepreneurship, and I have to work on it now where I'll see someone doing something amazing and I want to like jump on the bandwagon, like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. It probably feels so good to achieve that. I want to go do it. And it's great to be motivated by other people. It's great to admire what people do. It's another thing to get all the way off course because you are being like a restless bunny looking for like a dopamine hit because you want to do what somebody else did because they look so happy and successful and you just want to follow that instead of just being on your journey. And so if you are, looking to be in that entrepreneurship space, specifically like consulting, coaching, speaking, or some other journey, I think it's really important, and that's the part of the journey I am on, now is being okay with the ebbs and flows. Being okay with everything is not going to happen in 5 days, no matter what ad you saw. You don't know how long these people have been working on their business before they had that, you know, um, tip of the iceberg moment, and that's all you're seeing, and that's the story that they keep talking about. And I'm even cautious about that because I do have a great story, which is really a tip of the iceberg for my personal business. This one, because when I was working full time, I made $79,500, almost 80,000. So sometimes I just round up. Allow me to round up if you don't mind. But I made $80,000 while I was working full time, and I think that that's an amazing feat. I wouldn't, I do talk about it, and I have posted about it. I've talked to my personal clients about it. What I want to caution always is that it was a long time of, some of the stuff I just told you about before that actually happened. And then that is what gave me the courage to like leave my job. And the way that I did it was mostly from consulting. It wasn't, a lot of group coaching. That's something that I still desire to do because there's a part of me that desires to, pour into people. I spent so much time in ministry, youth ministry, college ministry, doing things with women, and there's something about group coaching that I know is really powerful. And I get to do it with organizations that I consult with, that I contract with. And so there's a part of me that I know I'm called and I desire to do it in my own context, in my own curriculum. And I know that that will come in time. But the point is, I'm saying that although I sell courses and programs, a lot of my income has come from contract work. It has come from consulting. And a lot of that has been something that I just had experience with my dance company and even doing consulting on my own before. I know how to have conversations and write up contracts and all of those things. And so that has been actually a really easy way for me to bring in money. And I say easy, I have the grace for it. You have to decide if you have the grace for it and you're going to be okay with it because it does come with, some pros and some cons. It's different than having a mindset of someone that is working full time, that you're used to getting that check on the 1st and on the 15th or the 30th or whatever, all the things. And you have to reprogram your mind to think about what is going to be your monthly reoccurring income. Where is it going to come from? Are you going to have enough contracts to be able to have, cash flow? How are your bills coming in? How are the things that you want to do in life coming in? What are your business expenses? And all of these different things, you have to be okay with that. You have to create a business model that's going to work for you and work for the flow of cash. If you are in a dual household, you have a husband that's going to help you out with things, and that actually works out really nicely. But if you're solo dolo, because you're still waiting on your man, and you have a single household, then you have to consider like, okay, if it's me, myself, and I, what am I going to do to make up for this cash flow? I did a lot of things that some people are not willing to do or have the option, so to speak, or have even considered the option, so to speak, of what they could do. I've, lived with, roommates. I've been able to travel so much in my day job that, I lived in one of my friends' guest rooms, so it was like easy, in terms of like rent. And so that those are like some things that everybody's not willing to do that to be able to be okay with the way cash flow comes in as a consultant. And so I think that you get to consider, you get to decide how you want it to happen. Maybe you don't want to jump ship Maybe you want to keep your full-time situation while you have your business growing on the side. And I think that that's fine. And you can also decide that, hey, I'm cool with working my six-figure salary or my five-figure, high five-figure salary and have my side situation, it takes care of me and my family. And maybe you're more intentional about building wealth in other ways. It's not the only way to build wealth. It's not the only way to have satisfaction. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to deter people from doing it. I just believe it is a limiting belief to think that there's only one way to an outcome. And there are a lot of ways to an outcome. And I just believe if you do what you know you've been hearing God tell you to do, you go do that, you're going to be just fine. But there are a lot of different avenues to making money. And one of the streams of income, only one, is entrepreneurship. There are other streams that will make money for you. If you are thinking that being an entrepreneur is going to get you from like not working anymore, I will say I work less. No joke. I work less and I've matched my low six figure income, right? So like, and I work less. I'll say that because I was traveling all the time. I was working less. So it didn't always feel that way, but that's because I did a lot of work to not be a hustle master. And I use contract work to help me with that. I don't have to be a hustle master. I have really great clients, good contracts where I don't have to feel this anxiety to be in hustle mode all the time. And I live a lifestyle where I'm not screaming for the need of money coming in all the time because I'm trying to keep up with a mortgage or I'm trying to keep up with a car payment or anything like that. And so it's something to consider. Is your lifestyle going to allow you to be at ease, or is it going to be something where you're frantic? So it's like you might as well learn to get your nervous system down to a place where you can manage enjoying your full-time work, or give yourself permission to look for a company that you're more aligned with if you're not willing to do some of the things that do come with entrepreneurship. Again, it can happen differently for you, but if you're thinking that it's going to solve for a hunger for you, it's not. You have to be okay that it's going to look different. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's definitely possible to do it in a way that feels good. If I would have known then what I know now, I would have done things. I wouldn't have given myself so much pressure to do things the way I thought it needed to happen to look like a successful entrepreneur. I probably would have spent more time considering how I could market my skills, sell my skills to companies, and do more contract work on the front end. I think that once I started learning about group coaching and online programs, I got so fixated on wanting to see that happen while working a very demanding job. I just kept feeling defeated when actually I wasn't able to really give it the time and attention and intentionality that's necessary to see it flourish. And I kept beating myself up for it. And so you just have to be real about what you are really having the capacity to do with your time and your effort, because we have limited time. Everybody, not limited. We all have the same amount of time, is what I mean. And limited in the sense of like, we got years on earth, but we ain't got, 300 years to live, right? And so it's like, you do have a limited time to be intentional about what you want to do. So you get to decide, how do you want to spend that time? And if it's like, I'm going to start my business on the side. I want it to look like X, Y, and Z, and I'm open to what that looks like. And I'm just going to be very, focus on growing it in this specific way, then go for it. That is what helped me not be stressed out about, if a group coaching program didn't sell as much as I thought it should sell, or doing like small products. I don't have a problem with any of those things. Like I said, so many people excel at so many things. You just got to decide what you're going to be really intentional about and go forth and be prosperous in that. And so I've shared in other videos that I'm giving myself permission to be a multimillionaire. And as of recently, after reading, a lot of different books on wealth and things like that over the years, I've come to the conclusion, which is true for all of us, is that having a certain amount of revenue in your business, in terms of your business being $1 million revenue business, doesn't necessarily mean you'll be a millionaire in net worth, depending on the dollars and the cents, the liabilities, what you're investing in, what your assets are, all of these different things. And so I just want to be open to the way that I build wealth. And it doesn't have to be something that stresses me out. And so I am your guinea pig because I'm out here. I'm out here working through being soft, unhustling myself because I know what it's like to work, and create amazing things through doing a lot of work, but I also know it doesn't always feel good. And I'm in this season of, okay, God, show me how to feel good, be present, enjoy life, and do what I know I'm called to do in my business and impact people the way I desire to impact people and build the wealth that I know is going to be the inheritance of those that come after me. So, with all of that said, I get to be open and get to sit in the fact that that's already done. So it's like, yo, what's up, God? I wasn't always like that. I was, I was doing a little bit too much. I was doing a little bit too much. And I was stressing, but I'm time out for that. So I hope that this video really helped you at least hear a little bit about my journey. I felt pretty thorough, but I'm sure there's more that I could tap into. But I feel like, it is finished. I feel like this part is finished. Let me know in the chat what surprised you, what helped you in this video, and let me know what you will want to hear more about on my entrepreneurship journey. As you know, I love helping powerhouse women and leaders that are faith rooted, that are looking to stop self guessing, stop second guessing themselves, and really stepping out on that next level life that they know they desire to live right now. And if that is you, you already know you need to run to my website, DesireeCoolcroft.com, and go ahead and add yourself to my mailing list because when my Future Her series course comes out, listen, it's going to be fire. I'm excited. And you ought to be too. If you want to know about it, you need to get on my mailing list so you can be the first to know. And I'll talk to you the next time. Until then, loves, see you then.